Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let's look at accessing iCloud using a web browser. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So iCloud is a variety of cloud services that Apple provides to Mac, iPad, and iPhone users. It allows you to share your files and data across all of your Apple devices. You can see it in the Finder or Files apps. You can see it in Photos. You use it in apps like Mail and productivity apps like Notes, Reminders, Calendar, and Contacts. And you can collaborate on documents in apps like Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. But in addition to being able to use iCloud in those particular apps on Apple devices, you can also access a lot of your data in a web browser. It can be the web browser on your Mac, or it could be the web browser on another computer like a Windows computer or an Android phone. So to do this, all you need to do is go to iCloud.com. And this is the iCloud website. And here you'll find a sign in button. So you would sign in using your Apple account. If you're on a Mac and you're already signed into an Apple account, then you can just use your local password or Touch ID to get in. And once you're in, you get to your dashboard for all of your iCloud services. Now this is new. As of November 2022, it has a whole new look to the main dashboard here. Instead of just seeing icons for different apps that you can access, you're going to see these boxes here that not only allow you to access those apps, but will show you some content in those apps. Like for instance Photos in the Photos app, some files in the Drive app, your top notes here, Mail in your inbox right here. And you can click on one of these to jump into the app, or sometimes you can click on the piece of content directly to go into the app and also view that piece of content. Now by apps, what I really mean are web-based versions of those apps. You're not actually going to launch Mail on your Mac. After all, you can't do that if, say, you're on a Windows computer browsing this in Microsoft Edge. So what happens if you click on Mail here is it actually launches the web version of the Mail app. You can see I'm still in Safari here. And this is a version of the Mail app that actually runs in a web browser. And you can view your mail messages right here, and it looks kind of like the Mail app on your Mac. You can reply to messages, forward messages, you can delete them, archive them, move them to a folder. You can even control click on them here and get a whole variety of different actions that you can perform on the message. Now in the case of the Mail app, this works for your iCloud.com email accounts. It won't pick up mail from other accounts like Google or Yahoo. You would go to those websites to view those. So to get back to the dashboard, just click on iCloud at the top left corner. And you can go into another app. Like for instance in the Photos app here, I can click on a particular photo instead of just at the top, and it will take me to the Photos app and take me to that exact photo. Now if I go back up a level, I could view my entire Photos library here, favorites, different albums, media types, and all of that. You don't have all the editing tools that you have in Photos on the Mac, but you can select a photo, you can download it, you can delete it, favorite it, perform a variety of different actions on it. You can also upload new photos. So you can select photos from the local drive and upload them to include them in your Photos library. In the Drive app you can see all of the files in your iCloud Drive. So you've got recent, you can browse. You're always here in icon view, which is kind of unfortunate. There's no list view. Maybe something for the future. But you can select a file, get information on that file, and sort in various ways. You can download files to the local machine, share them by email. Now here's where it gets really interesting. There are also web-based versions of the Pages, Numbers, and Keynote apps. So if you have a document like this, it's a Pages document, I can double click it and you can see it's going to open up a new tab or window depending upon your settings. And it will load the document up in the web-based version of Pages. And it looks very much like Pages. A little more like the iPad version of Pages than the Mac version of Pages. But you can see how you can still select text, set styles, and do all sorts of things here. It's not as full featured as Pages on the Mac, but it has a lot of that functionality. And what this allows you to do is actually view and edit Pages, Numbers, and Keynote documents in a web browser, even if you're not on a Mac. So if you collaborate with somebody and you've got Pages on a Mac but they're on Windows, they can still use the web-based version of Pages and then collaborate with you using this document even though they have no way to run Pages on their Windows computer. Other file types can be viewed as well. For instance, an image will simply open up as the image itself. A PDF file like this will open up in Safari and you can view it as a PDF like that. Now back here at the dashboard you'll also find a list of apps. So if you wanted to, you could go right into one of these apps without opening a document first. For instance, I can launch the Numbers web app here and you can say I could browse my recents in Numbers or create a new document from a template and then work in Numbers in a very similar environment to the Numbers app on the Mac or iPad. These apps are regularly updated, including the latest features. You can see the Numbers app here even has the ability to create a pivot table, which is a fairly recent addition to Numbers. And here you can see the Notes web app. I can go right into a note here and I can edit and add to a note, look through my folders for different notes. Now as I mentioned before, this dashboard page here is all new. It looks very different than how it did a short time ago. And it's customizable. So you've got at the bottom Customize Homepage. You can click that and you can see that all of these wiggle and you've got these minus buttons here. So I can remove something. Like let's say I can remove photos from the dashboard. I could also add something. So I can click here to add tile and you can see all the different things I can add. I could add photos back. I could also add calendar. I could add pages, numbers, and keynote. I could add hide my email and custom domain controls. And I could add the list of apps. So all of the panels available here can be removed and added. And when they're added here to the beginning. But you could drag them around to reorder them. Note here how you have a pattern of a square followed by a rectangle and the next line rectangle followed by a square and so on. So if I want to drive to be larger and calendar to be smaller, I could drag drive to the left. Now you can see I have a rectangular drive dashboard element and a square calendar dashboard element. You could also click Edit here and simply swap one dashboard element for another. And when you're done customizing this, you can click Done here at the top. Note in addition to this set of apps here as one of the dashboard elements, you can also click here to access all of them, including some that are not dashboard elements. For instance, Find My is not included as a dashboard element, but you can click here to use that. Using Find My is one of the primary uses for iCloud.com because if you've lost your iPhone and you're not near any of your other Apple devices, you can now use somebody else's phone or computer to log into iCloud.com, go to Find My, and locate your lost iPhone or iPad or Mac. Now this first dashboard element here gives you access to a lot of your settings. If you click in here, you'll see your Apple ID and some settings for that. You'll see settings for various different iCloud things. At the top you'll see tabs for going to your iCloud plan. You'll see the use of your iCloud storage, your iCloud Plus features if you have that. Data recovery features. You can restore recently deleted files, bookmarks, contacts, and calendars using iCloud.com. Notice here that a lot of these dashboard elements have the ability to create new items. Like you can compose a new mail message by clicking here. You can add a new event to the calendar by clicking the plus button at the top right. Same thing for a new note. And you even have a plus button at the top right here. If you click that, you can see all the things that you can do, like create a new email message, new note, calendar event, reminder, or new document in one of these three apps. Now here's some things to know about using iCloud.com. First, it should work on any modern browser. Now officially Apple supports Safari, Firefox, Chrome, Edge, and Opera. If you have the latest versions of those, then iCloud.com should work on them. Even some of the older versions it should work just fine. And also some other browsers. As long as the browser is modern enough and using web standards, iCloud.com should work on it. Now you may be wondering why use iCloud.com at all. After all, you can access all this information using the native apps on your Mac, your iPad, or your iPhone. However, there may be situations where you need to access your iCloud data outside of those devices. For instance, let's say you're just away from all your Apple devices. For whatever reason you've left all of them at home, you're out on the go, and you need to access something. Now as long as you have access to a computer you trust, say a friend's computer, you can log on and get some services even without two-factor authentication. For instance, you can use Find My Devices because obviously you might need to do that without having your iPhone or any other device with you to get the second factor. But most of the stuff you can't actually access without that second factor. But sometimes it's possible to have your iPhone with you and not be able to access your iCloud stuff. Like for instance, you could be traveling and have access to SMS messages. Get your second factor there and then use iCloud.com to log on to a trusted computer to access your iCloud email, your notes, your reminders, photos, and all of that. Now another situation is that you have an iPhone but you don't have a Mac. There are millions of people in that category. But let's say you want to access something on a desktop on, say, your Windows or Linux machine. Well, you could do that using iCloud.com. It may just be easier to handle your iCloud email or your notes or look through your photos on a desktop machine in a web browser than it is on your phone in that particular situation. Now it also often happens that you have a Mac but it's your personal Mac, and at work you have a different Mac with a different Apple ID, or you're using a Windows or Linux machine and you want to access your personal stuff. So you can use iCloud.com even in a private browsing window to temporarily log into your iCloud account, check your email, look at the data in your other apps. Even download or upload files from that computer to or from your iCloud account. Now another situation may be that you have no Apple devices at all, but you wish to work at iCloud a little bit, say collaborating with somebody on a Pages, Numbers, or Keynote document. When you go to sign in at iCloud.com, you do have the option to create an Apple ID. So even if you have nothing to do with Apple products, you can create an Apple ID and use that to collaborate with Apple users. These are called web-only iCloud accounts, and they have a very tiny 1 GB limit on files since you don't own any Apple devices. But at least Apple does let you actually get an Apple ID for free and use that to work with others. Another reason you may want to use iCloud.com is simply to look at something in another iCloud account. Maybe you have two, one personal account and one work account, and you can log on to the other account without having to log out of iCloud on your Mac. You can just use your web browser for it. And another use for iCloud.com is looking at content like files in the Drive app or photos in the Photos app to see what's there. When you're working out syncing problems between your Macs, it's useful to look here because this is actually showing you what's on the server. So if you have a file on your Mac and you don't see it on your iPhone in the Files app, at that point you don't know whether it's stuck on your Mac and hasn't gone to iCloud Drive or whether it's an iCloud Drive and simply hasn't gone down to your iPhone. But by checking here at iCloud.com, you could see clearly which files are there on the server and know whether it's a problem uploading the file or simply a problem downloading the file to your device. And the same thing, say, for the photos in your Photos library. Now there are actually a few features at iCloud.com that you don't really have access to anywhere else. Most notably in Mail. If you go into the Mail app, you can go to Settings by clicking on the Settings button here, then Preferences, and then you've got things like Auto Reply and Rules that work differently because you're now at the server level. So if you set up a rule here at iCloud.com Mail, it works at the server level before the email is delivered to your various devices. This is really useful because if you set up a rule, say, on your Mac, but the email happens to come to your iPhone while, say, your Mac is shut down, well, those rules will never get a chance to be applied because your Mac didn't actually get a chance to look at the message. But if you set up rules here at the server level, that will be done here and will apply to all of your devices. That's why I always recommend if you want to use rules with your iCloud.com email address, set them up here at iCloud.com, not in the Mail app on your Mac. And also the auto reply function is very useful as well. These auto replies would work at the server level, so even if all your devices are offline, it would still auto reply to people that try to message you. So here's what I recommend. Even if you don't think you have a use for iCloud.com, I say check it out now. Give it a look, see what it can do, look at your data in iCloud.com so you know what's possible. Because if you do need it in the future in one of those situations, you don't want it to be the first time you've ever looked at iCloud.com. You want to know what to expect beforehand. So take the time to check out iCloud.com. Even if you've done it in the past, there's the whole new look to it now. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.